There's a lot of videos on YouTube about what's sold on eBay. Problem is, a lot of people don't know how to evaluate parts when they buy them to resell. So in this video, what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you 3 parts that I recently sold. I got to get these packed up today, but I'm going to show you what I look for before I pull these. So here's 3 recent sales. This is a set of Avalanche bed covers. I sold the set of 3. This is just panel 1. If you look on these, the number's usually on the top. If you see a full set, you want to be sure and make sure you have panel 1, 2, and 3. They also give a display back here on the back. So panel 1 goes towards the front. Another thing you want to check when you buy these is all these hinges. 1, are they there? Okay, you can tell when you look and see if there's like any broken mounting points, but you also want to make sure that they turn freely. That's a big thing. Over the years, what happens with these things is they get stiff or they break. Sometimes if they're stiff, you can spray them with some penetrating oil. They'll loosen up and they're usable. Other times, if you think you can replace them, it gets really difficult because these screws will break off in there, and that really takes away from the value. Another thing to check on these, you have rubber seals. Now these rubber seals are old, but make sure that they're there, they're in decent shape. Another big thing to look for on these is for cracks. What happens is these things somehow will get water inside them through some of the, I guess, there's parts where there's holes in them, I don't know, but somehow these things miraculously get water in them. And when you sit them up on the end, the water will drain out. But what happens is while these are on the back of the truck and they fill up with water, well, wintertime comes. Water expands when it freezes and it cracks the plastics. Sometimes they'll still work, but it really takes away from the value, and it can cause some issues with them sitting in and latching correctly. Fading, I mean, these things are 26 years old. You're 20-some years old. They're going to be faded. These don't look that bad because I put some shine on them, like some vinyl protectant. I don't know what I used, but anyway, I did put that in the description that they're faded and that they have vinyl dressing on them. So when you get them, just be sure that if you list them, that you put they're sun faded. I mean, if you find a set that's not sun faded, you have really gotten something there. But you can do things to these to help bring the color back. Fading, still worth money. Structural damage, you may want to pass. Now the next thing I sold is this center console. Now this is out of a E150 van, E250, E350. These things are fairly common. They're a little hard to ship because they're just odd. But this one's just a driver quality part. It's sold for $80. I think I forgot to say these sold for over $400 for the set of 3, so they're a good money maker. A little hard to ship. This isn't heavy, but it's awkward to box up. But anyway, I did clean it some, but it still has dirt in it and stuff. The top's all scratched up. This part's scratched up. This is a good driver quality part. If somebody has a nice conversion van that they want to take on trips, this is probably not going to be the part for them. But a construction crew that's only worried about some place to put their coffee cup when they're running 10 minutes late for the first estimate, this is a good console. Check your mounting tabs on here. I think there's just these 3, and they slide down into some clips on that dog box cover, dog house cover, whatever you want to call it, engine cover. You want to make sure that they're not busted out, cracked, or broken. That's really your value there. If they're broken out, nobody's going to be interested in it. It's just going to fall off the console. So scratches and condition, again, it takes away from the value, but because it's structurally in good shape, it's still worth some money. The one thing you want to look for is some of these, instead of having a cubby hole right here, they'll have like a little glove box that opens and closes. The glove boxes sometimes can be picky. The hinge part breaks, the latches break. Make sure you check all that before you pull the parts. The last thing I sold, or the last of the 3 items, is this A-pillar trim. This is for a 1998 to 2001 Dodge Ram pickup. So again, sometimes these are faded. Fading, you still have some value, unless it's like gotten dried up or it's chalky. I don't know if you remember some of the 70s and 80s Ford and Chevrolet pickups, but you could drag your fingernail down the door panel and the plastic would just come up because it almost like it dry rots. I haven't seen a set of these do that, but again, always check your condition. If they're faded, okay, just put in the description that they're faded. They're good for a vinyl repaint. They sell the factory A-gate color for these, and you can repaint them, and they look as good as new. But the most important part of these, besides, making sure that your corners are in good shape, is these clips. Like that one's a little loose there. But these clips, these break off. And when these clips break off, they're not worth as much money. You can re-glue these back on. I've done that a few times and used this JD Weld plastic bonder. This stuff works really good. You just need to follow the directions. Don't rush it. Make sure you get them back in the proper place. If you do that, it will take away from the value some, but you can put a picture of the repair in the video. You can also list the material you used if you want to, and you can back it up with a guarantee. If they don't like it, they can send it back to you. And I know that makes it risky, but that's the difference between selling on eBay and someplace like Marketplace, or at a garage sale, yard sale, what do they call them? I haven't been to one in years, but where people get together like at a car show and they have a flea market there. It's different on eBay. You need to post that stuff because they can send it back. And really, a lot of people aren't worried about a repair like that. They realize that these parts are over 20 years old, and I mean, that stuff's kind of to be expected, but again, make sure you put it in there. These come with a handle. I don't know what happened to the handle to these. It's possible I didn't keep it. It's possible that it didn't have the handle on it when I took them off. But if you get these, when you take these handles off, save the handle, save the hardware, and they have like these little rubber boots that go over the screws. Save those rubber boots. What I usually do is take the screws and put back into the handle, then put the rubber boots back on the handle and take it all that way. So again, when it comes to these, it's good to know what they sold for, I guess. I forgot to tell you, I'm not with it quite this morning. These sold for $99. I don't think I said that yet, which I was happy with. So just a couple points that if you decide to start selling on eBay, or maybe you have some of this stuff sitting in a garage on a vehicle you junked, or one you're getting ready to junk and you're like, man, I would love to sell this stuff and get something out of it. Well, look it up and see if it's valuable. Really, the one thing that I can't stress enough is making sure that you're able to ship this stuff. These all take an odd size box because this is long and it's narrow. These take a large box. That takes a large box. And if you're not familiar with how to ship, before you even list this stuff, make sure you have a box for it. Make sure you get the weight. Make sure you get the dimensions, and then put it in the calculator for eBay shipping. There's lots of videos about that kind of stuff, and get calculated shipping, and you want to be accurate. And I don't want to get off on a tangent here, but make sure you get measurements, you know, add an inch or two, because if you just measure the actual item, your box is going to be a couple inches bigger. Plus, on stuff like this, you want room for packing. So like if this here, I don't know what these are, but we'll say they're 22 inches. I think they're longer than that. But let's say they're 22 inches. Well, I might put in the calculator 25 inches or 26 inches to give myself room for packing. And the same with the width and the height. It's best to add an inch or two so you can pack it. It protects it. Plus, if you do have a claim on insurance and the box is too small, they're going to find a reason to deny the claim. And sometimes on these things like this here, I get that when I ship these, there is a slim chance of them getting broken in shipping because these are heavy, well-built parts. But pay the extra insurance. What if they get lost? It happens. I've seen it happen. If you didn't buy the extra insurance, do not plan on getting your value. They could get run over with a forklift. Had it happen. Claim denied. That's another story for another video. But make sure that you measure the boxes out, add some space, and then when you go to list it, when it sells, you can get the money. If you can't ship it, you're going to have to send them back the money. So anyway, I guess in conclusion of the video, make sure you learn what your buyers are looking for. Condition matters more than appearance. And again, if the clips are broken, the condition matters. If they're a little faded, not that big a deal, but it does drop away from the value. Always check your clips, your tabs, your hinges, your mounting points. Also, make sure you check the structure. It takes a few minutes, but it's good to know before you get home and clean them. Another thing is, a lot of people think that the money in a junkyard is in engines and transmissions, which is true. You know, that stuff's very valuable, harder to ship. But the value too can be in some plastic parts, because a lot of these things, when they're taken apart, get cracked, broken, thrown away. They're old. People are in a hurry to get stuff fixed, and you can find them in good condition, and you have the patience to take them off. Sometimes they can pay well. So these parts brought me $600-ish in gross sales, and I was very happy with that. So if you liked the video, I would appreciate a thumbs up, because it does help me get the video out, but it also helps other people that can use this information to get a few extra bucks, to get rid of some of the stuff they have in the garage, make a little bit of money. So if you could just give it a thumbs up, I would really appreciate it, and maybe the next person can gain something from it too. I don't expect a ton of subscribers. I'm new to YouTube, but if you want to see more content like this, you can subscribe. Also, I'm going to be posting some videos. I do Spark delivery, Uber Eats delivery, a little bit of roadie delivery, stuff like that. And I have not posted a video about that yet, but I'm going to try to get one out soon, and also that content will be on my channel too. But anyway, thanks for watching. I really appreciate it. See you in the next one.